Start करूँ? Hello. So just one thing. ठीक है. Hey, this is a good question. And you are right. Hi guys, this is Amish and this is Ask Amish Anything. In fact, hashtag Ask Amish Anything. My social media agency, all of them far younger than me, think I'm not cool enough. I'm cool enough. So I've been told to use hashtag with everything. Hashtag Ask Amish Anything. So if you guys want to ask me questions, this is a monthly program. So if you guys want to ask me anything, go to any of my social media accounts. So I'm Author Amish everywhere, which is Twitter @Author Amish. On Facebook, I'm Author Amish. On Instagram, what do you know, I'm Author Amish out there as well. Drop questions to me with hashtag Ask Amish Anything. And what I will do is we'll pick some of those questions and I will respond through a video like this once every month. So here we begin. Ask Amish Anything. Hashtag Ask Amish Anything. Very good question. Swale Dev is my first writer center project. As you know, this is a system that has been used abroad. It hasn't really been used in India as yet. And you know, all my books right now, I've written it completely by myself. A writer center is where essentially I hire a writer and I tell him the story and he writes the first skeletal draft and then I work on it. We felt that the system needed some more tweaking. Hence, we thought Swale Dev would need a bit more time for release. And then it was cutting into the launch time for Ravan. And one thing which all of you have made very clear that you will not tolerate a delay on Ravan. So we decided that let me focus on Ravan and then we'll come back to you on Swale Dev and all my other Writers Center books. So what I'm focusing on right now is Ravan. I'm working hard on it and it'll be out by the end of this year or early next year. You know, I'm an early morning person essentially, so I'm kind of boring. I'm normally asleep by 10:30. I wake up around 5:30. I do my exercises or yoga every morning. I do my puja. I read 4 newspapers every morning, and I start doing my writing phase. I start writing around 9:30. And I write till the words flow. Okay, so some days the scenes really flow and I can write for hours on end. Some days the words don't flow, in which case I shut the laptop and try and do some other work, read a book, go watch a movie. And normally my business meetings or any interviews or anything, normally they're usually in the afternoons during my writing phase because I'm at my most productive in the mornings. So I need the morning time to write, I need cream biscuits to write and I need music to write. Normally, these 3 things I usually need. अभी क्या है यार मेरे को राजनीतिक बना रहे हो तुम. No, I'm not a politician. It's a very difficult job being a politician, especially in India. I will never ever join politics. That's very clear. Why did I keep a mustache? यार mood कर गया. So I thought I'll try it. अभी ये घर की खेती है, देखते हैं कब तक फसल उगती रहती है. और मूड किया तो फसल कटा देंगे. तो I will remove the mustache. अभी तो मूड ये है कि I want to keep my mustache. So it was an experiment, but I like it. So I'm going to keep it right now. मेरा मूड किया. Okay, this is a deep question. To answer this, you have to go into what is the root of the word mythology. It's an English word, right? The root of it is actually a Greek word called mythos. Mythos is, the original Greek meaning of it is a story which hides the truth, which hides the philosophical truth. That the story by itself is not so important. What is important are the philosophies that you learn from it. In India, often when I'm speaking in Hindi, I never use the word mythology, or sometimes people erroneously use the word mithya as well. Mithya means untruth in Sanskrit. That's not the word we used for our stories. Normally we either use the word itihasa, thus it happened, or we use the word Pauranik Katha, old tales. And our entire approach to these stories was that the stories are adaptable. What is more important is the philosophies that you heard, that you learn from it. Hence you will find that across India and through the passage of time, we've had various interpretations of the same mythology. So for example, in the north, Lord Kartik is considered elder. In the south, Lord Ganesh is considered elder. In the north, Lord Kartik is a bachelor. In the south, Lord Kartik has 2 wives, and this is just an example from the Shaivite Puranas. Across India you find so many different interpretations across. So many Indians today believe that Lakshman Rekha is mentioned in the Ramayana because of a 1980s television serial. But in the original Valmiki Ramayana, there was no Lakshman Rekha. So there are various interpretations like this across. Stories have been adapted over time, interpreted over time, and what was always more important are the philosophies that you learn from it. So hence what I'm doing is this concept of rewriting mythology is, the question itself is pointless, because it has been a rich tradition in India to interpret the stories of our gods so that we can keep learning the beautiful, deep philosophical messages that we are meant to learn from the stories that our ancestors left for us. If you think about it, all ancient cultures who started the path to civilization with us, which is ancient Rome, ancient Mesopotamia, ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, ancient Central American cultures, all of them have been wiped out. All of them are museum pieces. We are one of the few, if not the only, even China, pre-Emperor Qin China was wiped out. We are one of the few major ancient civilizations that survives till today. One of the reasons we survive is, I believe, that we keep adapting to the needs of a new age, but we keep the philosophical soul of the old. So actually I always say that I am only following a very rich Indian tradition. I am not doing anything new. I am not being less Indian. In fact, I am being more Indian. अबे क्या यार, I don't do jokey writing here. I think my writing is serious. I might not, take myself seriously, but I take my writing seriously. Where do I go to do my any writing? So all my writing, at least I take it seriously. Where do I go to do any writing? I can write anywhere, man. At times I have traveled to write. So I wrote much of Oath of the Vayuputras in Kashi, in Banaras. I'd hired a place out there and used to go for a walk in the evenings along the ghats of Gangaji and would write during the day. Parts of Scion, Scion of Ikshvaku I wrote in Nashik. Parts of Sita Warrior of Mithila I wrote in Singapore at a friend's place. So I've traveled to various places at times to write. At times I've written in my own home. I've converted one of the rooms in my home into a study. So I write out there as well. At times I've gone to cafes to write. So I write wherever the muse takes me. Wow, good question. I think the way Lord Ram was, he is independent of any age. Regardless of how society was, whether society appreciated him or opposed him, he would be the way he was. That was in many ways part of what made him so special. That he was a follower of the law, regardless of whether society itself followed the law or not. And perhaps in a time like this, where it is in many ways the best of times. Violence is at its lowest ever on a per capita basis. Whatever the media tells you, whatever social media tells you, the reality is on a per capita basis, violence is at its lowest ever. Poverty is absolute poverty is at its lowest ever. But in many ways, this is also a very difficult time. Norms are breaking down. Family structures are breaking down. Loneliness has shot up. Among the biggest causes of death in the Western world is actually loneliness. And that disease is spreading in other countries, including in India as well. At a time like this, perhaps we need norms. We need the pull of roots and traditions. I'm not against progress and modernity. There is good. But we need the balance of roots and traditions as well. And perhaps Lord Ram can teach us that. So in an age like this, I think he's even more relevant. Hey, this is a good question. Yeah, you're right. The meanings of words, they keep changing over time, man. And there is a subject called etymology. Which is essentially the study of language and the movement of words over time, how the meanings of words evolve. Like for example, today's circus is thought of as a circus, where you have animals and clowns and all that. But the original meaning of circus in Latin was actually not the circus as we think of today. Circus actually meant a circle, and the Roman circus was called a circus because the stadium was circular, and which is where they had their gladiatorial games, etc. And then that evolved into the circus as we know it today, and the meaning of the word circus changed. In etymology is like the Sherlock Holmes project, to travel with a word and discover the roots within. And there's one thought which had, one word which had struck me, and maybe I thought I think I'll speak of that with you guys today. So this is the word Temur. I'm sure you've heard of this. Is the name of the child of two famous actors today, and it was also the name of a Turkic conqueror many centuries ago. And I guess both those people couldn't be more radically different. The Turkic conqueror was perhaps the most brutal invader in human history, and the modern Temur is quite cute, man. I mean, even someone like me who doesn't read pastry stuff, even I have seen photographs of the kid, and he is adorable. So the meaning of the name Temur, okay? There are some who think that Temur is a Turkic word for iron, and they would be technically right. But let's put on our Sherlock Holmes hat and use etymology to find what could be the root of the word Temur, of the name Temur. So let's figure this out. Okay. Like I told you earlier, the meaning of words also change over time. Bear that in the back of your mind. Like for example, the meaning of the Russian word Tsar means king. The meaning of the German and even the Persian word Kaiser also means leader or king. The root of that word is actually the surname of a family from Rome, which became a line of kings. You would have all heard of that family name, Caesar. Caesar adapted into Russian Tsar, adapted into German Kaiser, and the meaning of the word changed. So keep this in the back of your mind, that the meanings of words change in the same language or in another language as it travels over time. Now keep this in the back of your mind. Second thing, keep in the back of your mind is when we moved from the Stone Age to the Metal Age, when humanity's technology evolved. You would know there were, our felicity with metals was one of the things which allowed us to dominate the animal kingdom. Various metals. There is the Iron Age, which is the relatively more recent one. Before that was the Bronze Age. So the thing that you have to think about is what was the first metal that was used in large quantities by human beings. That first metal that was used was actually copper, and bronze is also an alloy of copper. Again, keep this at the back of your mind. Okay, so copper was the first metal that was widely used, and in many languages the word for copper was adapted into the meaning of various metals. It happened. Third thing, keep in mind, we all know Temur was Turkic. The Turks were actually from Central Asia. They weren't from Turkey. They were actually from Central Asia. When they conquered Turkey, they kind of massacred the Greeks out and they took over, and then it became Turkey. The Turks were actually from Central Asia, that Turkmenistan, that area. And they converted to Islam rather late actually. They were originally Buddhists. And therefore, the spiritual or the religious language for Buddhists, as you all know, was either Pali or Sanskrit, which are all Indian languages. So many Indian language words, Sanskrit or Pali words, were actually adapted into Turkic because they were Buddhists. Bear all this in your mind, that the meanings of words change over time. Across humanity, the first metal that was widely used was copper. In some languages, copper, the word for copper came to mean the word for all metals. And third, that the Turks were actually, they converted to Islam quite late. They were actually Buddhists. They had many Sanskrit and Pali words in their language. Now you know all this. Now come back to Temur. We are told Temur means iron in Turkic, right? I'm sure some of you will know, but think about it without Googling. What is the Sanskrit word for copper? I think I've left enough time, 5 seconds, okay, maybe 10 seconds, okay, then I'll get on to it. The word for copper in Sanskrit is tamra, Temur. If you think about it, actually, the roots of even the word Temur actually come from right here in India. And you discover these mind-blowing things when you put on your Sherlock Holmes hat and actually go into the go deep into how words travel over time and how the meanings change over time. So that's it for now. Thank you so much, and see you next time once again. Please feel free to post in all your questions with the hashtag #AskAmishAnything on all my social media pages. I'm on Twitter @AuthorAmish. I'm on Facebook, Author Amish. On Instagram, I'm also Author Amish. Post in your questions there with the hashtag #AskAmishAnything, and we'll pick some of them and I will answer them in the next video. See you guys. Thanks. Bye. Hi guys, if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button. It's somewhere below out here. I'm not exactly sure where. But just hit the subscribe button so that you guys get notified whenever a new video comes up. It'll really help me, man. Thank you.